¿Qué más? ¿Qué hay de nuevo?
What's up?
Salut!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first podcast. We really appreciate your company.
Yes, we would like to thank to all the people who are listening to this podcast. So, Felipe, what do we have for today?
Wendy, today we have a very interesting topic to discuss, and it's about a movie named Detachment, which was released in 2011. This movie it belongs to the drama genre, and it is directed by the British director Tony Key, and starring Adrian Brody, who is also the producer. Let's remember that Adrian Brody has a very long and successful career. We have already seen him in movies like King Kong, Splice, and in hit movie The Pianist.
Great! So, let's begin with the plot of this film. Detachment is the story of a substitute teacher, Henry Barth, who is assigned to a new school that is suffering from bad test scores and, let's say, big behavioral conflicts. As he deals with a new group of students, in which we can find that some of them are violent and disrespectful, he assists his grandfather at a medical center. One day, in his way home, he meets a young prostitute whom he begins to take care of. He lets her stay at home, and as the time passes, we get the feeling that she fell in love with Henry. But Henry is not interested because she is a young girl and he is a correct man who only wanted to help her. That's why he sent her to a young facility. As this goes, we get a look inside the school and we see the teachers and the counselor trying to survive another day on school. One of them even take pills, but we will discuss that later. That's the thing about this movie. There's a lot of subplots. Each character has a story and a problem to deal with. For example, abuse, bullying, social inequalities, anxiety, and a lot of anxiety. I'll say this movie portrays an educational, realistic drama that hits very close to home, especially the role of teachers and everything they have to face in and out of school. This last one is the main subject of discussion that we'll be addressing today on this podcast.
You are right, Wendy. Actually, the first topic we will talk about is about the lack of passion for the teaching profession and also the reputation of the teachers within the society. At the beginning of the film, we can learn some experiences from teachers all around the US educational system. They expressed their adventures to become teachers. And something very interesting regarding these experiences is the lack of enthusiasm and passion towards the teacher profession. They actually said teacher profession would be the last profession they would have ever chosen because they were interested in becoming the new rock superstar or to work in different things that at the end of the day they couldn't achieve. So basically, they got a job at a school only because such is life. That's cosas de la vida, right? This situation, Wendy, let me tell you, reminds me this very sad idea that society has towards the teaching profession. We constantly hear about the fact that teachers are not good at what they do, that teachers are usually students that cannot achieve their life goals, and they decided to become teachers to get something to do. And I think that after hearing all these comments, a lot of people started believing it. However, we know that it's not true. We know it's not like that. But we can see how misconceptions might affect the reputation of someone or something. So, what I'm totally sure is the fact that there are different reasons that explain this problematic, and those are exactly the following topics we are taking into account. Right, Wendy? What do you think about?
Yeah, it's very interesting the topic you just talk about. Usually we listen to all these type of comments, and that reminds me of another aspect that we will discuss, and that's the abuse to which teachers are subjected. I mean, from humiliation by students, even including threats, to labor exploitation, low salaries, and precarious service environments. Now let's go back a little bit to the movie. There we will see a teacher victim of a revolting assault, an unpleasant event where a young girl spits on her. But the thing does not end there. When she decides to call her parents, the girl's mother attacks her, accusing her of racism, and then she threatens to kill her at the hands of a gang. I mean, this is for real? And the answer is yes. This happens a lot. For example, in my school, the physics teacher always had flat tires on his bike because the students stopped them. That's awful. And usually the people said that this is part of the job, but I don't think so. Another example in the movie is when a teacher is grading some exams at his home and then he finds out that one of them has written "you suck" or "you're an idiot," something like that. That's awful. I mean, this part of the movie leads us to another relevant aspect that is, let's say, the labor exploitation that we consider is another type of abuse, mainly because of the constant increase in the number of work hours, both inside and outside the school. I mean, that hours you spend planning and grading is part of the job, and the system does not take that into account. What do you think, Felipe?
Wendy is very interesting, and actually, this is related to the next topic, which has to do with the obligations and responsibilities that fall on teachers. These are situations that make even more difficult to be a teacher. We constantly have to deal with parents that cannot raise their children. They believe that we are their caregivers and we have to teach them everything. They said to us that we are the main cause of the deficient academic performance of their children. And as a consequence, we are categorized as teachers who cannot do their job well. The last example that our classmate Wendy taught us about the confrontation between the student and the teacher confirms the fact that it's believed that we have to take care of the students because their parents are working, because the parents do not have enough time to dedicate them. This just means that our role as teacher into the society is changing to mere caregivers than a real teacher. So we have to deal with misconceptions that society has created about us, and we also have to deal with parents who are not able to raise their children.
Exactly. Teachers usually take those responsibilities and get judged by doing it. This type of comments could be related to the implications of personal and professional life on the teacher's mental health. Everything. I mean, stress, anxiety, and depression. And in the movie, this is the most clear aspect. We have Henry Barth, a depressed teacher, mostly apathetic to his students because there is no sense in connecting with them. Other teacher is Mr. Wyatt. He is the one who feels like a prisoner at school and he feels completely tired of his routine. We find also the counselor performed by Lucy Liu. She gets frustrated because she feels that no matter what she does, she won't be able to help the students of this school. Actually, Felipe, teachers' mental health is considered as an occupational disease, especially because of the overload of work, the frequent change of subjects, and the critical comments, as you said, proceeding from the students and the parents. And maybe that's the reason why Mr. Charles take pills in the movie.
Wendy, it's very interesting the information that you gave us because actually there is a very dramatic situation within institutions. It's related to violent behaviors and mental problems. I brought you a very interesting quotation by Alberto Martínez Boom, where he says, el lugar del maestro es hoy, más aún que en otros tiempos, una zona de fisuras, grietas y de terrenos movedizos. The last quotation helps us bring into discussion the problem itself of violence among students. Teachers have to face different situations in the school where their classmates bully other students. And as one of our responsibilities is to educate students in tolerance and understanding, sometimes we try to intervene that make us become mediators of students and that also affect us. So we have to solve situations that are totally out of our hands. And we can see this example in Meredith, a girl who is very intelligent, smart, and creative, but she is constantly bullied and she has developed depression and anxiety due to their abusers. That affects her performance in school and also in her life in all senses. So even though I'm trying to show you that we are humans and we have limitations, I also want to point out that we have a very nice role in society. We have a duty as teachers to promote values such as tolerance and respect. And at the beginning of the movie, Henry tries to be detached towards the school problems. However, little by little, he develops a sense of empathy towards the other. And it's exactly what he does with Meredith. He knows that he's a person who has a lot of trouble. And even though Henry has also problems, he doesn't care and he tries to help her.
Sure, values and moral aspects are all over the movie. This actually is one of the main topics of this film. Also, we would like to sum up saying that this film highlights the difficulties of teachers in educational institutions. They're actually the ones who directly endure mistreatment from students and parents, whom do not take into account the importance of their duty, our duty. We identify those mistreatments first in violent acts that threaten their physical and psychological integrity, and second, the precarious working conditions which affect their emotional and physical performance inside and outside the school.
This movie tries to show us different situations, real situations that teachers have to deal every day. And clearly, as future teachers, we have to be informed about all of these situations we will face in our future. To finish this podcast, I would like to share with you some quotations by Alberto Martínez Wong in his essay Figuras contemporáneas del maestro en América Latina. Los maestros son aquellos arquitectos de sociedades, deben luchar cotidianamente por su salario y su saber como si no fuesen derechos sino limosnas. Su misión histórica es gigante, pero su vida se debate entre grandes carencias, entre el cielo que se promete con la acción de la escuela y las precarias condiciones del maestro. Se instala con frecuencia el látigo, que a veces resuena con particular masoquismo. No hace, no sabe, no piensa y paradójicamente tienen tanto por hacer, por decir y por pensar. So thank you guys for joining us. We see you next week.
Yeah, thank you all, and we invite you to watch the movie. Bye bye.
Bye.